The house was quiet when I got home. It was nearly 2 a.m., and I was running on caffeine and muscle memory after an 18-hour shift at the trauma unit. My feet ached, my shoulders burned, but I was used to it. Nights like that weren't new to me. What was new, what had kept me upright through the final 4 hours of chaos, was knowing I'd get to peek into my daughter Emma's room when I got home, kiss her forehead, and feel like everything I was doing meant something. She was 9. Small for her age but smart and fierce. She always left a sticky note on the fridge when I worked nights. Tonight's note read, "I left you one cookie. It's the big one. Love you." I smiled at it before quietly opening her bedroom door. She was curled up under her unicorn blanket, her little chest rising and falling softly. Her plush rabbit was tucked under one arm. I didn't want to wake her, so I just stood there for a minute, letting the sight of her slow my breathing. Then I went to bed. I didn't even bother changing out of my scrubs. A few hours later, sunlight cut across the floor and woke me. It was nearly 9 a.m. I got up, stretched, and shuffled into the kitchen to start coffee. "Emma," I called, knocking on her door. "Morning, Peanut. Time to get ready." No response. I pushed the door open and smiled. "Hey, sleepyhead, school day." She didn't move. I walked over and touched her shoulder. "Come on, baby. Up." Her skin was cold. The kind of cold that doesn't belong in a child's bedroom. My heart dropped. I shook her gently. Nothing. Her eyes stayed closed. I screamed her name and shook her harder, trying to pretend this was a nightmare I'd eventually wake up from. But it wasn't. I called 911 with hands that had just triaged a car crash not 12 hours ago. Hands that had held lives together with pressure and tape and instinct. But now they couldn't stop shaking. The EMTs tried everything. I already knew it was too late. The coroner confirmed it later. An overdose. Traces of fentanyl. Fentanyl. In my house. In my daughter's body. The questions came like a tsunami. Where? How? With who? Emma didn't have access to anything like that. She was a child. An innocent child. I didn't even keep aspirin in the house without locking it away. Then came the police report. Toxicology. Minute traces of a crushed pill found on her bedsheets. Someone had been in her room. Not Emma. Someone had given it to her. I thought of every possibility, school friends, strangers. But the timeline didn't add up. She hadn't left the house that day. I had checked the nanny cam before my shift. She'd been watching cartoons. Safe. Normal. The police pulled phone records. Security footage. Our nanny cam's cloud data. What they found made my stomach cave in on itself. At 6:43 p.m., my husband, Derek, had come home early. He wasn't supposed to be there. He'd told me he had a business dinner. He'd even texted a photo of his meal. I remembered thinking how thoughtful it was. But it was a lie. The camera showed Derek entering with someone. A woman. Younger. She followed him into our bedroom. 10 minutes later, Emma's door opened. She was looking for juice, probably. She found them instead. The footage had no sound, but her face said everything. Confused. Embarrassed. Scared. The woman said something. Derek said something back angrily. Emma turned and went back to her room. 3 minutes later, the woman walked in after her. I couldn't watch more. I turned away from the screen, shaking. When the detectives finished, they told me the woman was 23. Derek's coworker. They'd been seeing each other for months. The pills were hers. She had stashed them in her coat pocket. Emma had somehow ingested it. Or worse, the woman had given it to her to calm her down. No one knew for sure. The woman was arrested. Derek was taken in for questioning. But none of that brought Emma back. Derek tried to call. Left voicemails, sobbing. He claimed he never knew about the drugs. Said it was an accident. That he'd never hurt our daughter. But he had. Not just with the drugs, but with every lie. Every moment he let someone like her into our home. Into our daughter's world. I buried Emma on a Tuesday. There was rain. Her favorite music played. The little rabbit went into the casket with her. I didn't let Derek attend. The media swarmed. Fentanyl tragedy in a safe suburb. They called it an accident. I called it betrayal wearing a familiar face. I left the house. Moved in with my sister for a while. I couldn't walk past Emma's room without falling apart. I quit the hospital. Started speaking at schools, community centers. Telling parents not just to lock away medicine, but to know who they let into their home. To listen when something feels off. Because I hadn't listened to the silence. Hadn't asked why Derek was working late more often. Hadn't questioned the distance in his eyes. I wanted to believe we were okay. That our daughter was protected. That love was enough. It wasn't. Months passed. I started to breathe again without choking on air. But part of me, part of who I was before that night, died with her. I tell this story not because I want sympathy. I tell it because someone out there is walking through their door after a long shift, seeing their child asleep, and assuming everything's fine. Check again. Look closer. Ask the hard questions about your partner, your home, your life. Because love doesn't come with guarantees. And sometimes, the ones we trust most are the ones who break us in ways we never saw coming.